And within 6 months, we brought in almost $1 million from show revenue, ticket sales. We are essentially the Amazon of swimwear.
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Kris, first and foremost, thank you for joining the show, man. Really appreciate it.
Caught up with the mic here.
No, you're good. So I wrote you a little intro. Might as well read it, and then we'll just talk about whatever you want. So for the audience, my next guest on the show is the co-founder and CEO of Breezy Swim, recognized on Forbes as the next 1,000 list. His swimwear brand has been mentioned by MarketWatch as one of the fastest growing companies in America, and is fresh out the garden from the launch of Breezy Bowl. Some call him Kris Ice because he's precise. Ladies and gentlemen, Kris Izquierdo.
Love it. It's great.
So Kris, talk to me about Breezy Bowl. I know that's been a big thing of yours recent.
Yeah, man. Breezy Bowl was a labor of love, to be honest, man. It was probably one of the most proudest moments of my life, but it was a challenge for sure. I mean, I came up with the idea for a swimwear company in 2018 because swimwear is lightweight, it's easy to ship, and it's highly Instagrammable. And one of the things that I stumbled upon along the way was a realization that it was a lot of girls' dreams to walk in Swim Week for whatever reason, right? And I think it has to do with beauty standards. For girls, they're recognized by their beauty, and for men, we're recognized by our success and our status. So I have the theory of men want to make a Forbes list and women want to walk in Swim Week for that reason. So in 2021, we did Swim Week, Miami Swim Week, and what I realized is that there's a better way of doing things, right? Brands typically pay to be part of Swim Week, and they pay anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000. Mm. And when you do that, you show up with your collection, the models are there, and you kind of just show up for the fitting and you do the show. And the only people who really benefit from it were the people who put the show together. And what I was hearing from the brands and from the models was that it just wasn't worth it for them. The brands felt like they weren't getting their money's worth, and the models felt like they weren't getting paid enough, or they just weren't having that experience. Mm-hmm. And then two, walking in Swim Week is a lot like playing in the NBA. There's so many people who want to walk in Swim Week, but there's only so many spots, right? There's competition. Mm-hmm. And with that realization, I stumbled upon Breezy Bowl, and the concept behind Breezy Bowl was to make it accessible to everybody, right? Our whole trademark slogan is everybody's a bikini body. Nike has just do it. We have everybody's a bikini body. And what we really figured out was if we can create an experience, we could put a price tag on this and people will pay for it. So we launched the idea earlier this year in January of 2023. And within 6 months, we brought in almost $1 million from show revenue, ticket sales. Girls were buying votes to compete we had a competition, so Miss Breezy. And it really, changed the game. It disrupted the modeling industry because never since the dawn of human time has anyone ever charged models to walk in a Swim Week show. Our average ticket was about $1,200 to walk in the show, what girls paid. Mm-hmm. We had about 400 girls walk the show. I mean, it was a very pivotal moment in my career where I just couldn't believe my eyes when I was standing there that Sunday, and it was just kind of is this really happening? But it was wild, and it was a lot of work. It was definitely stressful, but it was worth it.
That's awesome. And to backtrack a little bit, in 2021, when you were participating in Miami Swim Week, how exactly are you getting into the game? Do you have your own models that were wearing Breezy?
Yeah, so the way typically Swim Week works, people don't really understand it, but there's basically 3 producers, right? You have Art Hearts Fashion, you have Paradiso, and then you have Miami Swim Week. And then what happens is they're the ones who are in charge of casting the models, and they pay the models pennies on the dollar. And then they basically get the venue, they get the runway, they have the video production and all that good stuff. And then they sell you the pictures as part of the package. And then that's kind of how it works. But you really have no control over the models or anything else as far as the show is concerned. You kind of just go, show up, and goes.
Got it. And then in order to get the models, were you just specifically running Facebook ads, or have you transitioned over to different platforms to advertise?
Yeah, it was mostly Instagram ads. I mean, it was interesting because here's what I realized. We couldn't reach out to girls. I mean, we could, but what happened is, I can't DM a girl from Breezy's page and say, hey, we would like to invite you to walk in Swim Week. Because if I'm inviting a girl to walk in Swim Week, then she's not going to pay. But what we noticed is when we ran ads that said, DM us the word me to apply to walk in Swim Week on Instagram, now girls were coming to us. That's a whole different dynamic when they're coming after your brand and they're expressing interest that they want to walk for you. Because then what that does is basically says, hey, okay, fine, you want to walk in our show, well, these are the packages and this is how much it's going to cost. And they can't really say, well, well, how come you're making me pay? I'm like, well, who wants to walk?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the dynamic is very different. And that's what I realized early on is if the girls express interest by applying on your site and responding to an ad, you can charge them.
Right.
Because they're the ones who are interested.
Right.
But if I go to them, it doesn't work.
I was cracking up because I was looking at your story the other day, and I like how you put rap lyrics to every kind of move you make.
Oh, yeah.
And how you pretty much hit the industry with the reverse Uno card.
Yeah.
And that's effectively what happened, because when I would tell my girlfriend, I was like, oh, I have my friend of mine that he started Breezy Bowl, and girls are paying to go on his runway. She couldn't really process it. She was like, why would people pay? I
was just as shocked as everyone else, man. I mean, it was one of those things where I would wake up every morning throughout the whole process, and I would pinch myself. I was like, is this really happening? It was like, it's hard to like grasp it, but once you understand like the basic principles of psychology and why it works, it's really not that crazy, right? So like you have the dynamic of like reversing the game where they're coming to you, right? So that's part one. But then there's also too like the status and understanding what people want. Mm-hmm. And girls want that feeling of exposure, and they want that status, they want that fame. And if you could provide that to them and you create an experience, they'll be willing to pay, coupled with the fact that like there's like 100 spots in swim week, and how many girls are actually going to be able to walk. So they know that it's competitive and their chances are slim to none, so they'll do it.
That's 100% on point with social media. It's like the whole social flex. Every girl wants to be a model. Yeah. Every girl wants to be a model, but
yeah. And then you hear that Drake song. For me, one of the light bulb moments was that Drake song, Jimmy Cooks. He goes, "Bitch, don't tell me that you model if you've never been in Vogue." And I'm like, okay, there's levels to models here, right? Like there's just like in sports, you have the amateur level where like when I played baseball growing up, my parents paid to put me in a league. And then in college, if you're good enough, you get a scholarship. And then at the pro level, the pros get paid. But most of these girls aren't pro models. And that's what I realized. They're aspiring models. And I went after the amateurs and I said, okay, look, we can give you a platform and we can get you on a runway show, but you have to pay to play. Gotcha. That's how it's always worked.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you like the intricacies into the Facebook advertisements, because I've been testing it out here and there, doing split tests. And how would you like logically go through it in terms of like testing what works and what doesn't? So
we had a pretty robust funnel, man. I got to say we did something very unique. We used ManyChat, which is a DM bot that you could set up with Instagram. And we would run these story ads, and it would say, DM us the word me to apply to Walk and Swim Week. And the word me would trigger an automated bot, and it would say like, hey, thanks for your interest in walking in our show. We're so excited to have you in our show. And then it would kind of go through like some key points of what the show had to offer. And then they would be prompted to an application on our site where they would apply to walk in the show. After they've applied, by the way, we had 37,000 girls apply, which is insane. It's more applications than the University of Miami and FIU will receive combined. After they've applied, within 6 hours, they would get what we call the congrats email and the congrats text. So every girl got accepted, and they would basically say, hey, congrats, you've been accepted. We're so excited to welcome you on our show. And at this point, girls are going crazy.
For sure.
And it goes,
for sure.
And then they're like, and then we're like, okay, well, there's 3 packages to select from: tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Each package has different things that we could offer you, and select the one that works best for you. We even offered payment plans, so girls were like basically financing this. We had a girl start a GoFundMe account to walk in our show.
Holy shit!
It was insane. I mean, there was one. I looked today before I got here. One girl. How much do you think one girl spent in her entire swim week experience with us? The most. The girl who's paid the most.
The most. Over $5,000 easily.
So it was $6,300. This girl paid $1,800 to walk in the show. She paid $2,600 for a VIP table. And then she paid another $2,000 in votes. So we had a competition, and part of the competition was we were going to crown our first Miss Breezy, sort of like the pageant, like the Miss USA pageant or Miss Universe pageant. And I came up with this idea of like, instead of making these girls jump through hoops, I made them swim through waves to compete in the show. And one of the things we did was, wave 1 was like those deep questions that they ask you, like what impact do you want to have on the world? What means the most to you? And it was like 5 or 6 of those questions, and like the best 64 moved on to wave 2. And then in wave 2, it was all voting. So then all the girls who made it to wave 2, their picture was put on our site. And the first week you can go on our site and people can click and vote. And then I had the idea of like, wait a second, what if people can buy votes? So I created voting packs. And then on the 4th of July, we had this crazy, I made like $15,000 on votes on the 4th of July. I worked 12 hours a day on the 4th of July.
So how would it work? Like on your site, you could buy X number of votes for a certain amount?
Yeah, so I created like this leaderboard system, and there was like this leaderboard where every day I would update the leaderboard, and then I would take all the votes that people would actually go and click on vote on the site, and then I would get the votes that people would pay for, and I would combine them. So like there was voting packs. So the way it would work was, for example, there was like for $300 you get 5,000 votes. For $600 you get 10. So like the more you would spend, the more votes you would get. And there was different tiers but like the cheapest pack was like $200.
Got you.
So
and how many votes would that get them?
I mean, it depends. Like for example, for 4th of July, we had our America was. When did America? 1776.
Yep.
So I think you got 17,766 votes for like however many years we were a country. So it was like 200 and something years. So I think it was 237 years. So it was $237 for 17,776 votes.
Right.
And that crushed.
Gotcha. And so backtrack a little bit on the advertisements. For the ad, was it like was it you talking, or was just it posted on Canva?
It was a story ad. It was a story ad it was actually a video I took on my phone of the Swim Week show we had the year before, where all the girls were like in a group photo. And I could show you when we get off camera. But it's basically girls just in a photo, like 15 girls, and it said DM us the word me to walk in the show. And then we also ran other ads like with girls just walking on the runway from other shows.
Got it. And then how much were you spending on advertisements at the time?
So total we spent $105,000 for the entire pretty much to get all the signups, which was about a 6x ROI or return on ad spend, just on the spots to walk. That doesn't include, because girls still had to pay for tickets for the show, right? So like if they had friends and family coming to sit front row, it was like $350.
Got it.
So they would spend $1,800. That was like the top tier package to walk in the show, and that pretty much gave them access to everything. We had spray tanning, we had hair and makeup, we had IVs, like liquid IVs. Hydrofacials, candy bar. I mean, there was so much stuff that other shows just didn't offer that we did, and I think we created an experience that people are already. I mean, we already launched early bird for next year, and we have people already signed up. So
epic. I actually I was going on TikTok the other day, and I saw some random like makeup girl talking about how she wanted to go in Breezy Bowl. I was like, oh shit, that's literally.
We got a lot of heat too. Like, there's people who are making like TikToks about us, like calling us a scam. My whole thing with the whole scam thing. It's like, okay, so if you look up the word scam in the dictionary, scam implies trick. Like you're getting tricked. Like I sell you this, but I really give you this. And I'm like, dude, we're not scamming you. You're not a model, first of all. If I pay you to walk, you're scamming me because you're not a professional model. You have no runway experience. So my whole thing is, we're not a scam because you're getting what you're paying for, right? We're giving you the pictures, we're giving you the videos, you're getting the experience, and you're getting everything that you would never else get because, like I said once before, and I'll say it again, it's very competitive, and the chances of you actually walking in a show, if you're going up against the Ryan Murphys of the world, is slim to none.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
I remember you made that video on Instagram when you were in the kitchen with the bag of water. You're this is a scam. You fill it up and say this is water from Splash Mountain. Yeah. And you sell it at a premium. So that's pretty funny. So back to the advertisements really quick. You said $100K total. How much was it per day that you were spending more or less?
It would vary. I mean, some days we'd spend 1,000, some days 500, some days 300.
Got you. And then for the venue, you would say a large percentage of them were just family and friends, or you also were advertising to get people to just come to the show?
So the thing with that, what I realized was if we could just sell the spots to walk in the show, the tickets would sell because most of the girls would have either friends or family coming. So I didn't really focus on selling tickets to like the general population. I'm just like, let's just get girls to pay to walk in the show, and then, we'll get people to come watch the show through that by extension.
Got it. Yeah. And then what are the things that you're trying to improve on for next year's Breezy Bowl?
Yeah, man. So like, I would say ticketing, like there was a bit of a bottleneck when you walked in, making that more streamlined. I want to make it so one of the things, we're going to have to come up with like a canopy so that in case there's rain. So I took a lot of risk with this show. My team was like, what do we do if it rains? I'm like, well, the swimsuits are waterproof. I'm like, we get to put them to the test. But what I realized is we have to have a canopy next year because if not, I mean, if it rains, there's that. And I mean, I'm a risk taker, man. I'm like, it's not going to rain. And they're like, well, we should have some towels just in case it does rain. I'm like, yeah, no problem. My dad has like this whole closet of towels. Like he has this thing where every hotel he stays at, he's a well-to-do guy, but he likes to take towels from hotels and he has a whole collection. I'm like, yeah, I'll just bring some towels. I didn't bring one towel. I'm like, it's not going to rain. I'm like, dude, if it would have rained, it would have been fucked.
Yeah. Are you planning to do the same venue or trying to grow
most likely.
it?
I mean, it's a great venue. You have the entire skyline of Miami, and it's positioned greatly. I think it's a good venue, and there's really not too many other places in Miami where you could do an event like that. I mean, we looked at other hotels and other venues, but they just don't fit the capacity that we were looking to fill. The only other place would be the Fountain Blue, but the Fountain Blue has already been kind of taken over by one of the competitors. So,
got it. And I know like most people are going to watch this, they're going to understand that you just launched Breezy Bowl, but they probably won't understand like the origins of it in terms of like starting Breezy. Yeah. And I remember, I think I went to your warehouse for the first time like 2018.
Yeah.
It was a couple months in. I think I went with Alecos, Mac, Quevedo. And I just saw everything, all the facility. You had all the individuals packing the stuff, and I thought it was like super elite. But can you walk through how you kind of started, just for some people to get some context?
Yeah. So I started the company in 2018. We really took off through our whole brand ambassador program. So another realization I had early on was that like girls wanted to be influencers, right? Back in the day, if you asked the kid what they wanted to be when they grow up, they would have said doctor, lawyer, fireman, one of these noble pursuits. Nowadays, you ask someone what they want to be, they say they want to be an influencer. That's where we're at with things, right? So I capitalized on that, and I created something similar to what we have now with Breezy Bowl. And we created a membership whereby girls would pay $30 a month, and they would become an influencer. And they would get like an influencer package every month, and they get to have the title as an influencer. They get benefits, they get perks like discounts. And then we would give them credits. So for $30 a month, you would get 2 credits in your account, and a credit was either a top or a bottom, and the credits would roll over. But if you didn't use those credits, it's like you just gave us free money, and then we could use that money to like advertise and sell more. So what we found was a lot of girls would, with subscription-based businesses, they would forget to cancel, or they would have what's called in accounting breakage, right? So it's like if I sell you a gift card, but it takes you a year to use it, you just gave us a bunch of money for free.
I see what you're saying.
In essence, right? Not exactly for free, but it's basically you get to have that money, and until it gets redeemed, it's basically not, it doesn't cost you anything, right? So that was very, very beneficial to our initial success, because it allowed us to pour more money into ads, because we weren't having to ship out as many products as if we were actually like, okay, you pay $30 a month and we ship you a box, right? We give you credits, but you have to use those credits. And then after a while, they would expire. And then you would also have to pay shipping on those credits as well.
Got it. And would you say that's still like your bread and butter, just like the affiliate marketing?
Yeah, I mean, I say that really kind of holds us down a lot. I mean, we have over 36,000 influencers at this point. I mean, they range in size or not. I mean, they're not huge influencers. Most of them are micro influencers.
Right, but still.
But yeah, I mean, they all have affiliate codes, so they get 20% off any order that they sell or anything that gets purchased through their code. So it's been working really well. No,
that's massive, dude. And for most people, I feel like they think entrepreneurship is kind of like a get rich quick kind of thing. They'll try out a business and probably like fail and just never do it again. But when I was looking through your videos, I was like, man, you've really been working at a ton of different businesses since you were like freaking 8 years old, 10 years old. And what I found out is that all the different businesses you had, you gained some sort of skill set. And I feel like most people try to read about different skills. Like if they want to learn about marketing, they'll like study marketing. But if you go to a marketing course, they won't even know how to run like Facebook ads or something like that. So
yeah, I mean, it's going to sound cliche, but you just got to get out there and do it. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but it's the truth. I mean, the best way of learning is by trial and fire. I mean, you got to just get out there and try it out. There's 2 ways to learn. You can learn from other people's mistakes, which is probably the best way to learn, or you can learn from your own mistakes, which tend to be more costly. Typically, I like to do both, where I'll read or I'll watch videos and educate myself and learn from other people and what mistakes they made along the way, so I don't have to make those mistakes. But then you're also it's inevitable. You're going to make mistakes throughout the way, and you're going to have to learn from your own mistakes. But a combination of the 2 typically works well.
Hell yeah. And so after Breezy Bowl, like I know you're planning to do another one this year, but is there any thoughts of just like selling the business overall and doing something else, or you want to stay focused on this for a couple more years?
No, my mind's not really on selling it yet. I mean, I love what I do. Being a single guy in Miami at 28 years old, living in arguably one of the best cities and owning a female swimwear company is not a bad thing.
Right.
It has its benefits. So I don't really know if eventually, yes, I'll probably end up selling the company, but I'm in this for the long haul. I mean, I'm not even thinking about an exit right now. I'm thinking about building and putting my head down, and I don't know, maybe in 10, 15, 20 years, who knows?
Yeah.
We exit. And
I remember you posted a video. It was like Dan Balzerian. He was like talking about some shit like that. You pretty much have to set up your life to be optimal.
Oh, the setup.
Yeah,
This whole book is called The Setup, and the whole premise of the book is figure out what you want and then figure out how to get it. Well, Trump wanted to build a wall and have Mexico pay for it. That didn't really work out for him. I said, I'm going to have the largest Miami Swim Week show, and all the models are going to pay for it, and it worked. So it's figuring out what you want and then figuring out how to get it. So.
And what is your typical day like? Because I've seen you do a lot of those cold plunges.
Yeah, man. I mean, every day is different. Again, that's another cliche that we hear a lot. Every day is different. But I don't really have like a set routine. I'm not a routine type of guy. I try to have some sort of routine for the most part, do some things every single day. But I'm never really the type of guy who's going to wake up at the same time every single day. For the most part, I go through periods where I do, but then I kind of fall off. Mm-hmm. But at least once or twice a week, I'll try to like wake up before the sun gets up, right? And then definitely cold plunge. Cold plunging is amazing.
You have one in your house, right?
I do. I have an ice maker.
Nice.
And then I have to scoop in the ice, put it in the cooler, and then put it in the cold plunge. Do one about 2-3 times a week. The gym that I go to also has one, so that's good.
Got you. And you're still doing the boxing?
I do a lot of boxing. Boxing.
Do you spar with anyone? I saw you spar with some guy. I think it was on Instagram.
Yeah. It's one of my friends from back in the day.
Got it.
It's fun, man. Boxing is what I like about boxing. It's so physical, right? It's one of the hardest sports, and you burn, I think, like 800-900 calories, which is the most out of any sport. And it just teaches you a lot about like endurance. I mean, business in life is a fucking fight. Mm-hmm. So if you could physically fight, I mean, business is it's a breeze.
For sure.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Yeah, I picked up jiu-jitsu in December and kickboxing, and it's definitely been good. I feel like I'm more in the mindset of it's very primal, and I feel like all men should know how to like kind of defend themselves.
Exactly. And what got me into boxing was like the fact that like I was disrupting an industry. I'm like, dude, if I'm gonna like challenge the status quo, this, I better like be able to fight. Like I needed to feel like I felt like I needed to like take out like this pent up energy that I had on like a punching bag or some mitts or something. And I'm like, I just got to learn how to like fight, because it's like it toughens you up. It makes you stronger physically, and if you're strong physically, it makes you mentally stronger, and everything else follows. I mean, I live by the principle of like take care of your mind and your body, and everything else will follow. Like if your business is struggling, oftentimes it's probably because you yourself are probably struggling with your health or your fitness. And if you just take care of that first, like put yourself first, make that your North Star, fitness, and you feel so much better. I mean, I take an ice bath, I do a sauna, and I feel calm as a cucumber after. It's amazing.
Do you listen to Wim Hof, the Iceman?
I've heard of him.
He's the one that got me into all that shit. He'll just go in frozen water for like 3 hours and just like not pass out. I'm just like, dude, that's insane.
It's nuts. I do the full submersion too, so I'll go underneath with like a
straw.
Right? Man, I'll tell you, it is such a head rush when you do the full submersion. You get out of there and you're like, it's like you feel sharp, you feel clear. It's like you're ready to go. It's like you just took 3 espresso shots. It's insane.
No, I feel like a lot of those things truly have benefits, and some people look at it and just think like, oh, this guy's nuts. Like, what is he trying to do?
Yeah. No, it's not even to like look tough or act tough. It's honestly because I
makes you
genuinely enjoy the feeling after. It sucks when you first get in. If you've ever done an ice bath, you're just like, I mean, and that's rookie level. Like you could tell someone who's never done an ice bath, they're going to be doing that. I mean, I get in and I'm stoic. I mean, I don't even flinch at this point, but that's because I've done it so many times. But the benefits, man, I mean, I think it increases dopamine. I read somewhere like 250%. So it reduces inflammation. There's so many benefits that you could read about what ice baths do. I mean, it's great.
Got you. And I was going to ask you in terms of day-to-day items, right? So you wake up, whatever time it is at that certain period in your time. How do you prioritize things? Do you have like a to-do list? How does your day go about in terms of operating?
So, number one thing for me is IPAs. And that's not to be confused with Indian pale ales. Because I mean, I like to drink, but income producing activities. So I think about like, whenever I have a good day is because I focus on IPAs. Whenever I have a bad day is because I focus on things that, like I'm the type of guy that I'm heavily influenced by how much money I'm making. So like on a good, if like almost like if the stock market's up, I'm happy, and which is not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. You know, you really shouldn't tie your emotions to things you can't control. But what I've realized is like when I do focus on things that bring in money, I do have a better day. And when I don't, I feel like I wasn't focused. And that's really what my strength is, right? Like if I think about what is my knack, right? What makes, to give you an analogy, like what makes Jimmy Butler? What makes LeBron? It's his ability to be a fourth quarter player, make shots at the end of the game and win the game. And I'm like, what is my knack? Well, my knack is I know how to bring money in, right? I mean, we made $50,000 in votes. I created that out of thin air. That was literally a concept that I said, why don't we just charge girls to vote, charge girls to purchase votes? And then I created all these little marketing campaigns around it, and that brought in $50,000 in 10 days leading up to the show. Yeah. So those are the things that I like to do on a day-to-day, that when I do them, I feel like, okay, that was productive. That's the best and highest use of my time, is to focus on things that bring in the company money. And oftentimes, we just get distracted with things that don't bring in money, that are, I guess, maybe on the surface they look like they would be useful, but really it's not really making a difference to the bottom line. I mean, I'll give you an example of like, I mean, let me think. I mean, there's things that I think people do in their business that it's like, why are you doing it? It makes you look good, but does it actually make any difference to the sales? And oftentimes the answer is no. So I think it's finding those things that actually move the needle and then just doing those things. Right. You know?
And what would you say is your bread and butter? Do you think it's like the marketing side, or just
as far as like
your best skill set you think that you have?
I would say I know how to bring in money. I know how to
creating products and services, you would say?
I'm really good at making people part ways with their money. That's what, if I had to boil it down to one sentence, I know how to make people part ways with their money. And I do that because I understand influence, the 6 different principles of influence, right? You have like scarcity, you have reciprocity, you have commitment, consistency. So when you use all these different triggers, you could almost in a way control people. And I could understand if I tell you, okay, if I put a timer on our website and I say in 7 hours, prices are going to go up, and you start seeing a timer, that's going to make you more likely to buy, right? If I show you all these reviews of everyone who's purchased and had a great experience at Breezy Bowl, that's what you call social proof. It's going to make you more likely to buy, right? So all these different principles of influence, and this is a good book on this called Influence, that talks about these things, right? So when I say I'm a Forbes Next 1000 entrepreneur, that's authority. So now people, that gives me credibility. So all these little different things, I pull on these strings, and I'm able to create a lot of trust and credibility, and I'm able to influence purchasing decisions, and that's how I'm able to get people to part ways with their hard-earned money. Right. So that would be like, I guess, like my God-given ability or gift is just I know how to sell. You know.
Right. I feel like each of those things make you marginally better and give you more credibility, like you said, to make the sale, which I think is huge. And sometimes I kind of struggle with that now. I'm trying to monetize my brand a little bit more. And in terms of like prioritizing, should I be focused on advertising or creating different funnels? From your standpoint, how many funnels do you currently have, and how do you like manage that even?
It's just one funnel. So right now it's just, it's 2. We have one for the e-commerce side and we have one for Breezy Bowl, but it's just one funnel. And then once you have that funnel that converts, just you stay running that funnel. If it's not working, then you keep testing other funnels. But for the most part, man, I would say for you, just focus on the money. Sales cures all. I really like, with Breezy Bowl, a lot of people wouldn't have taken the approach I took. They'd be like, okay, well, we want to have this show. Why don't we start buying tents? Why don't we start looking for a venue? What about the models? What about this? I'm like, no, fuck that. Let's focus on the money. Money in, money in, money in. And this is something I learned from actually Andrew Tate, where he talks about one of the most important things in business is get the money in first and then almost figure out how to do it later. Right? Because without the money, you can't do it. And then money is what you need to be focusing on. And I think so many people get lost with everything else. And if you just focus on, money is like the score. Like just focus on scoring points. Right. You'll win the game.
Right. Yeah, because I think in entrepreneurship and in business, there's like a fine line between grit and adaptability. So I was wondering from your standpoint, if you're running an ad, let's say for 10 days straight, there's no traction from it, then you would just move on. I'm just wondering if you have like an actual like time frame where you say this shit isn't working and I need to kind kind of pivot?
I mean, it just depends. Everyone has like a different strategy behind it, depending on who's running the ads. Typically, you run the ads for about a week maybe. If there's traction on it, you'll know. If there's not, then you kind of cut the ad. I mean, when I say traction, I mean you'll see like at least a 1-to-1 ROAS. If not, you move on, cut the ad, and do another one.
Got it. And last night I was watching a video that you went to, I think it was to China. I saw it on your Instagram Reels like a long time ago. I was just trying to get as much information. Have you gone back since then?
I haven't. That was when I was in Wuhan.
Gotcha.
Nah, I'm kidding. I didn't go to Wuhan. No, I went to Hong Kong in 2018, right after we started Breezy. Went to Macau, which is like the Vegas of Asia, about an hour ferry ride from Hong Kong, which was nuts. Highly recommended. It was like so clean you could eat off the floor. Ate at a Michelin star restaurant. We went to the largest trade show called the Canton Fair in Canton, not Canada, Canton, China. And it was huge, man. I mean, they had all these suppliers. I mean, you could buy ping pong paddles, you could buy rafts. I mean, everything you could think of, it was there. It was there. It was just a giant trade show.
And you started with AliExpress?
I did, yeah.
And then, so, all right, once you started generating a ton of sales from AliExpress, you were like, whatever, I'm just going to go over there and try to get my own supplier? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. We went to the trade show, made some connections, and that's how we found our first supplier.
And those suppliers were all on AliExpress, or they're just like completely separate?
Some of them were, some of them weren't. Some of them were kind of independent.
So you just did that just to have a direct connection with the supplier to just manufacture your different styles?
It's also kind of an excuse to take a trip and travel.
Right.
Yeah.
right. Got you. So currently now you still have the same suppliers, or you've had to switch them a couple times since then?
We have the same. I mean, we've had to switch a couple for different products, but for the most part, we've had good suppliers and no issue there. Yeah.
And what do you like in terms of, let's say someone wants to start their own like gym wear? Would you recommend for them to do like drop shipping and then kind of start from there? Because I think I talked to you one time, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you were kind of saying how drop shipping is it's just like a hustle. It's not a business, and it's effectively like kind of dying. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with drop shipping, and the problem I have with it is you go on YouTube and you type in Shopify drop shipping, and it's all about like getting rich quick. And it seems that people are playing a finite game instead of playing an infinite game. The game of business is never ending. It's not like football where there's 4 quarters in the game. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. I feel like a lot of people have a short-term mentality when it comes to drop shipping, and it's almost like you're not building a business if it's product dependent, right? If you're just always looking for the next shiny object that you could sell and make a quick buck, how's that a business?
Right.
I mean, a business is something where you can sell the same product over and over and over again to the same customer. Not to knock drop shipping, you can make money with it, I'm sure, but I just don't think. I think if you really want to build a business, then you could start with the drop shipping model, but then figure out, well, how do I build a brand, and then just have a brand that sells the same products over and over again and build a good brand. I mean, now I don't know if you heard, but there's this thing called Shopify Collective. So what Shopify allows you to do is basically you could list other people's products on your site that are on Shopify. So I don't know how many stores. I think there's over 100,000 Shopify stores. So now they could list. I can go on their marketplace and I could find other brands that sell similar. For example, sunscreen. I could say, okay, what are brands that sell sunscreen? Okay, I'm going to go send a message to them, and I'm going to go ask them if they want to sell their product on our site. Now, as soon as we get a sale, they get a notification, they ship out the order, and we take a cut of that. So I could sell basically a bunch of auxiliary products that complement our swimwear, cover-ups, hats, sunglasses, things like that, and I could generate more revenue. I don't have to warehouse or house any of that inventory now.
Got it. No, that's smart. I had to ask you one thing, because I feel like a lot of times when I talk to people about selling things online, the first thing is like, why would someone buy something on your store versus Amazon? Like, what would be your rebuttal to that?
I mean, there's a lot of competition. I think it has to do with impulse. If someone sees an ad, they like the product, they like the brand, they'll just do it. Amazon tends to be more search, right? So if you want something specific that you're looking for, you'll go to Amazon, you'll buy that. But sometimes it's serendipitous. It's kind of spur of the moment. You're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you see a girl in a bikini. I like that bikini, $30, buy it. That's it.
So you think the edge is just like bringing the product to the customer versus them having to like search for it?
I think it's putting them in front of their eyes, yeah.
Got it. There was one more thing I wanted to ask you about. Amazon, right? Because their shipping is typically 1 to 2 days. I don't know how fast do you ship?
3 to 5, yeah.
3 to 5. Okay, so it's not really a huge difference. And drop shipping, it takes like in 2 months.
Yeah.
But no, that was one of those things that when I started drop shipping, probably 2017, 2018, I found that was a struggle because all the products were shipping in like 2 to 3 weeks. But I had utilized that free shipping model that it's only about the fidget spinners.
Yeah.
And it seemed to do well, but I think eventually it started dying out because it was a very seasonal product and there wasn't any like branding behind that.
Yeah.
So.
And what's interesting now is what we're doing is we're partnering with our swimwear brands. So the vision and the goal with Breezy Bowl is to disrupt and basically do what Uber did with the taxis and kill off all the competition. And how we're going to do that is, well, if the traditional business model is brands pay $10,000 to $15,000 to go walk in someone else's show. Well, now I can go to those same brands and say, hey, brands, since we're paying since the models are paying us, why are you going to go pay that producer $10,000 to $15,000 to go walk in his show when you could walk in our show for $1,500? And you'll list your entire collection on our site, and we'll take 15-20% through Shopify's collective app. Mm-hmm. So now we are essentially the Amazon of swimwear. We could even say, you know what, first year, all brands walk for free, but you have to list your collection on our site, and we take 30%. And that's what we're going to call Breezy Bazaar. Bazaar just basically means marketplace. Mm-hmm. And then the bigger vision is to create Breezy Beach, which is like sort of like what Playboy has. Maybe it's like an OnlyFans, but less without the nudity component of it, more like Playboy. So that we'll have Breezy Beach, which is like meet me on the beach, and then you can interact with all these different content creators who are making content on the platform. Then you'll have Breezy Bazaar, which is like a marketplace for swimwear. So you'll be able to go to Breezy Bowl, and then all your fans, the fans that you have on Breezy Beach, can come support you and watch you and meet you in person at Breezy Bowl. And then there'll be all other incentives, right? Like one of the things that OnlyFans is missing is like, what if your fans could purchase stuff for you? So imagine you had like a wish list. So you come to our site and now we have 50 different swimwear brands and they're all participating in our show. Maybe they're paying $1,000 to be in the show and then we're taking a commission. Maybe they're not paying anything, but we're taking a commission. And then now there's all these other companies, these producers, they're like, well, this guy took all our customers because he reversed the game and he figured out how to develop a new business model that basically crushed us. Right. But going back to what I was saying, with these fans on this platform, they'll be able to purchase stuff for these girls. So imagine you can create a wish list of all the things you want from breezy.com, right. breezyswimwear.com. And now your fans can purchase it for you. And they could send it, and you have your address already hooked up. So there's other things you could do, right? I think the platform will allow you to also create different monetization strategies. So like if you reach a certain amount of revenue as a creator on the platform, then you could basically get to walk in the show for free. You get to get cash back on the site. So there's different things that we could do to integrate it. So it basically the whole vision is to have like 3 different business units. Like Facebook has Oculus, they have WhatsApp, so on and so forth. Is to have Breezy Beach, which is like the OnlyFans, Playboy-like platform. You have Breezy Bazaar, which is like our marketplace for swimwear, and then you have Breezy Bowl. So Breezy Bowl is the main swimwear show where all the brands come together and they showcase all their collections.
Do you think it's like more zooming out from the actual swimwear itself and creating like a conglomerate, like a marketplace? That's where you think you're headed towards like the next 5 years? I
think so. I mean, I think it's having a big vision. I think you can't, if you want to build a big company, you got to have your hands in everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Amazon. They pretty much expanded into so many different verticals. But I think it's wise to stay within the verticals that you've already kind of have your foot in and just figure out how you could expand from there. And I think it just makes a lot of sense, just being that the fact that a lot of the girls who walked in the show are aspiring models, are OnlyFans models, and are already into that kind of content creation. So if you can provide a platform for them to join and put a spin on it, create other benefits that maybe OnlyFans or the Playboy Centerfold, I think it's called Centerfold, doesn't have, I think you have a competitive advantage there. And then couple that with the show. And you have network effects, right? One of the things that Uber and Facebook has is what's called network effects, right? The more drivers, the better it is for the riders. The more riders, the better it is for the drivers. So if you have 400 models, the more models, the better it is for the other brands. The more brands, the better it is for the models.
Right.
The more
it's
brands,
like the snowball
yeah,
effect.
and it's just compound. Like this. And then the more brands that you have on the site, the better it is for the customers, and the more better it is for the customers, the better it is for the brands, and it's what you call a flywheel. And that's really what we're trying to create.
Oh, yeah. Dude, well, Kris, I think we covered everything, man. I greatly appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And where can people follow you on IG?
Yeah, my Instagram is Kris Icee, KrisIcee, ice with 2 E's. And then Breezy Swim, breezy.swim on Instagram, and Breezy Bowl on Instagram as well.
And where can girls sign up for the next Breezy Bowl? What's the website?
Breezy Swim. If you go to our homepage, you type in Swim Week at the search bar, or you could just click on the tab that says Swim Week. You can learn more there.
All right, sounds good. All right.
Pleasure, man. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Good. Thanks, man.
How long did we go for?
40.
40?
Let's show him.
I was hoping to go like 3 hours like Andrew Tate.
Yeah.